Saludos a toda la afición de la lucha libre. Que les habla es Michael Morales Torres, integrante del equipo de Lucha Libre Online. Y tenemos el enorme privilegio de presentarles a nuestra invitada especial en la noche de hoy, directamente desde Guinea, West Africa, para el mundo, gente. Queen Aminata is in the house here on Lucha Libre Online. Queen Aminata, it is an honor for us to have you as our guest. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here with us. I just wanted to start this interview asking you, how did your passion for pro wrestling started?
Wow, that's a long story, but I'm going to make it short. I am from Guinea, West Africa, like you said. And when I moved in the United States back in 2013, I said to myself, well, I'm going to give it a try. And here I am. I'm not trying. I'm living the dream. So, yeah.
I'll translate that to Spanish. Aminata menciona que ella obviamente es del oeste de África, de Guinea específicamente, y llega el momento en que en el 2013 se muda a Estados Unidos. Cuando llega a Estados Unidos en el 2013, ella dice, bueno, este es el momento, así que vamos para encima, y ella ya no está como que intentando, ella está viviendo el sueño. About that, which were either the wrestlers or the rivalry or the match that inspired you enough, to do this as your profession?
To be honest, growing up, I watched only WWE back home. That's all we had. I never knew anything about indies, but I used to watch Brock Lesnar and John Cena, and I was like, wow, I want to be like Brock. Like, he's a badass. I want to be like him. And I'm doing it now, so.
I'll translate that. ¿Qué figura o qué luchador o luchadora le llamó la atención a Queen Aminata para convertirse en luchadora? ¿Quién más? Brock Lesnar y John Cena fueron las personas que ella vio durante el tiempo que estaba creciendo. Menciona que en su país de origen, en Guinea, West Africa, solamente veían WWE, como que no había nada de esto de las independientes, pero ella dijo como que vio a Brock y dijo, oh, él es un badass, yo quiero hacer eso cuando sea grande, y eventualmente lo está haciendo ahora. So, you moved to the United States in 2013, and every career has a humble beginning. So I want to know, how were your first trainings, like your first falls inside the ring and everything? Do you remember the pain, the confusion and everything from the industry at the beginning?
I remember everything. And to be honest, when I started, I was like, oh, this is so hard, but I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to do it. And then I remember like training 6, 7, 8, 9 months later, my trainer was like, oh, you're not getting it. Like, I don't know what, something is missing. You're not getting it. I'm just going to throw you out there and let's see. And I wasn't really confident. I was like, oh, I'm frustrated, but I'm still going to do this thing. I'm going to do this thing. And I'm happy I didn't give up, because here I am, I'm the queen. So.
Translate that. Menciona obviamente que ella nunca se rindió. ¿Por qué? Porque es la reina. Pero en este proceso de tiempo siempre pues toma trabajo. No es secreto para nadie, hay muchos sacrificios que hay que hacer en el camino. Ella estuvo dispuesta a hacerlo y hasta ahora ha triunfado. After that hard training, there's the moment that they call the graduation. So everyone has a first match. We want to know what was Queen Aminata's first match, where you were, who was your opponent, what do you remember from what you were feeling going through that curtain, feeding on the audience's energy, everything?
I can tell you definitely that I was nervous and I wasn't confident at all. And they threw me in the Rumble. I was the only woman, and I was like, okay, I got this. I'm the only woman. And I remember going, in the Rumble, like doing my little spot against my trainer. And something just clicked. I was like, oh my God, I'm just going to hit him so hard. Like, this is my payback time. And it was so good at the same time, so nerve wracking, that I forgot about everything. Like, I couldn't hear people. I couldn't see anybody. It was just me in the ring. Like, I was completely zoned out. And when I went in the back, then I started like shaking. I was like, oh my God, I'm so shaky. But it was fun. It was fun.
I'll translate that. Su primera lucha fue un Rumble y ella era la única mujer allí presente. Entonces tuvo la oportunidad de hacer un spot con su entrenador y es como que ella lo primero que me viene a la mente, lo voy a golpear tan fuerte que ya me voy a desquitar todas las que me hizo. Este es el momento. Estaba nerviosa, no tenía la confianza tal vez en sí misma. Obvio, es su primera lucha, no es para menos, pero la primera lucha de Queen Aminata fue en un Rumble. I want to talk about, fast forwarding a little bit in time about 2019 WWE SmackDown. You had a pretty particular and unique opportunity over there, and you face Asuka and Kairi Sane. What can you recall of that experience, and how did Queen Aminata got her big opportunity on WWE?
Well, like everybody else, I went to be, an extra talent. I just wanted to, I guess, try it out and see if they're going to use me. And finally, I think that was my third or fourth time being there. And they finally said, oh, yeah, you're going to go, against Asuka and Kairi tonight. Here's your partner. But we had dark matches already. When you go, you do dark matches. And I was lucky enough to, I talked to Asuka a little bit in the back, before going, because I put my gear. She's like, oh, I like it. So we exchanged, and a little bit. And finally, they were like, oh, you're going to go against Asuka and Kairi. I was like, this is so crazy, because in 2018, I did an interview and they're like, who's your favorite wrestler? And I said it was Asuka. And now I'm going to be in the ring with Asuka. It was just amazing. But for me, the fact that they let us put our matches together, let somebody like me, as new as me, be kind of have a little say in the match, that was really, really humbling to me. I was like, wow, this is crazy. And finally, we just did it. And I wasn't as nervous, but at the same time, it was just like, this is surreal, but I have to use this opportunity to just create something that I want for myself. So it's once in a lifetime. Let's just get it. Let's just go. Let's just go crazy. And that's what I did.
I'll translate that. Queen Aminata tuvo una lucha de debut en WWE, televisada en WWE SmackDown en el año 2019, ella y su compañera contra Asuka y Kairi Sane. Entonces, antes de llegar a eso, ya tuvo 3 o 4 oportunidades como extra anteriormente, trabajó dark matches, y pues obviamente como todos los talentos en un inicio comienzan como extra, y pues vamos a ver qué me toca hoy, tal vez pensaba ella, y de repente le dicen, ok, te toca con Asuka y con Kairi Sane, y esta es tu compañera. Es como que, pero espérate, en el 2018 ella había dicho que su luchadora favorita era Asuka, y era como que era una experiencia surreal para ella. Y lo interesante de esto es que cuando se pone el gear, se pone su atuendo y todo, tiene la oportunidad de dialogar con Asuka e intercambiar varias palabras, como que le gustó su atuendo y todo. Y obviamente ella como que no era que no estuviese nerviosa, pero era como que la adrenalina era demasiada, o sea, se entiende, era la primera lucha, era WWE, era su luchadora favorita al otro lado del cuadrilátero. That's the dream. I want to know, how do you got the opportunity initially, to got to the first not trial but extra work in WWE, and what do you recall of that first dark match?
Well, the first time I went there, I had sent an email and they didn't respond, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep sending these emails, I don't have anything to lose. So every, I think 2 to 3 weeks, I was sending emails, and finally they responded. They're like, oh, we're gonna invite you. I was like, oh, you don't have to say that twice. So they invited me for Monday Night Raw and then SmackDown, and I went and did both. And I had only one tryout match then, and I was like, okay, this is good. I'm happy. This is it is whatever it is. And it was so, I was so grateful. And I came back, I was like, I'm gonna send another email. Hey, I'm available again. So I kept doing that, and that's how I kept going. And yeah.
I'll translate that. ¿Cómo Queen Aminata llega a sus primeros tryouts y a sus primeras oportunidades en WWE? Al igual que hacen muchos luchadores independientes en el inicio, ellos envían un correo electrónico, muestran su disponibilidad, muestran un interés, envían su información, y ella dice como que no tenía nada que perder, así que vamos a hacerlo, y cada 2 o 3 semanas enviaba un correo electrónico y los continuaba enviando, y continuaba tocando la puerta hasta que un momento dado le dijeron, ok, te vamos a invitar, y es como que excelente, no tienes que decírmelo 2 veces, yo voy a llegar allí. Y así es que ocurren sus primeras oportunidades. What do you recall of that backstage ambience in WWE the first time you enter to the locker room? I mean, it's so different to anything highly probable you've experienced at that point so far.
Yeah, it was, from my point of view, to be honest, it was great for me because I had so many people that I was able to talk to. Well, I won't say I went directly to talk to them, but they were available to at least communicate with me. And for me, that's a lot, because I grew up watching these people on TV, and finally they're telling me, oh yeah, you gotta use your opportunities when you're out there. Just don't be nervous, just be you. And that's what I did. So it's something that I'm still using, you know, like how to be very nice to people, like new people, like how I was super new. I mean, I'm still new, but it just helps you stay humble and knowing exactly who you are and where you want to be. So, yeah.
I'll translate that. Obviamente, cuando uno llega a un lugar nuevo, no es para menos, se siente nervioso, se siente preocupado, qué va a ser la expectativa de qué será, a veces come a uno más por dentro que lo que realmente encontramos allí. Cuando ya tienen la oportunidad de llegar allí, simplemente le dijeron, sé tú misma, sé humilde, y ella hizo eso mismo, fue humilde para mantenerse enfocada en lo que ella quería, para mantener su visión, para mostrar el respeto también a las personas que estaban allí, que habían hecho el camino para que ella llegara, y obvio, o sea, una experiencia de esa manera simplemente no se puede dejar pasar. You know, working with Asuka and Kairi is saying it's something pretty huge, but you're the only woman from Guinea, West Africa, to ever wrestle on WWE. How does that feel for you, representing your country, representing your people?
You know, I barely think about that, like, you know, representing my country or representing the people. I just go for what I believe, you know. I stick to it, because when I started, it was super hard. Like, I was getting a bunch of mean comment because I'm Muslim and I'm from a country where, you know, women are covered. So me being at that level and showing them, hey, I am not here because I want to be naked. I am here because this is my job. This is what I want to do. And when I'm done, then this is the Guinean me. So it's just showing them different cultures, different type of work, but at the same time showing them exactly through my post that I am still who I am. So that was way more than representing a country. That was just more like, you know, hey, I'm a woman. I can do this and I can do this. I can be this and I can be this at the same time. So you back off, because I'm going to do me at the end of the day. So it was great coming.
I'll translate that. It is inspiring. Más que representar a su país, obviamente ya piensa en eso, pero no piensa en eso tan frecuente. Aminata es la única mujer de Guinea, del oeste de África, que tiene la oportunidad de estar en WWE. Es la única, solo hubo una y es ella. Y más que eso, ella fue representando a la comunidad femenina, ella fue representando a las mujeres, ella fue como una mujer musulmana que tal vez las personas están acostumbradas a ver las personas de esa cultura cubiertas, y entonces la veían a ella más descubierta de lo normal. Es como que, mira, yo no quiero estar aquí porque quiero estar desnuda o con poca ropa, yo quiero estar aquí porque este es mi trabajo, esto es lo que me apasiona, esto es lo que me ayuda a crecer, esto es lo que tiene ese fuego por dentro. Y de esa manera entonces ella pudo mostrarle al mundo la diferencia cultural drástica que hay viviendo en el mismo Estados Unidos, pese a que ella es de un país diferente, y mostrarle a su gente también y a las mujeres de todo el mundo sí se puede hacer. I'm really curious about your country. In terms of pro wrestling, we don't know much about it. Is there an independent circuit of pro wrestling in Guinea?
No, we don't have pro wrestling ring. We don't have where to train. We don't know nothing about the indies. All we know is just WWE TV. That's it. That's all we know. We don't have anything. So that's crazy, I know.
It is really strange. I'll translate that. Le pregunto si hay cultura o industria de la lucha libre en Guinea, en West Africa, y ella me dice, no hay un cuadrilátero, no hay donde entrenar, no hay nada. O sea, lo que es WWE porque lo ven, pero como que hasta ahí. Entonces, then my question for you is, without, you know, any pro wrestling industry, how do you know this was your dream? And how do you know this was the thing to pursue?
Well, it wasn't my dream, to be honest, because being from there, I couldn't dream about something that was inaccessible to me. So I went to school to be a lawyer, and I moved to Paris to do my master's. And then when I finished my master's, I was like, I want to come to America. I want to learn the language. That was the primary thing. Like, I want to be able to speak English. And when I moved here, I started going to school for that. And I was working at the shoe store called Famous Footwear. And I met a friend that was like, oh, you know, I tried to be a pro wrestler, because we were just talking. I was like, I want to be, you know, I want to try to be a pro wrestler because I see all these divas. But I was still working out pretty much every day. And he was like, oh, I used to train here, Ohio Pro Wrestling Academy in Columbus, Ohio. I was like, oh, okay, I will give it a try. And that's how everything started. And I went to do my tryout, and actually they wouldn't let me try out because they're like, the school is closed. We're going to move. I'm like, listen, James Avery is my trainer. I was like, listen, you're going to have me there before you close the school. I'm going to try out and you're going to accept me as a student. He was like, okay, well, if you insist. So I finally went. And then it became my dream. And now it is my reality.
I'll translate that to Spanish. ¿Cómo vas a poder, ella dice que no era su sueño ser luchadora, porque cómo vas a poder tener algo como sueño si es inaccesible en el país donde ella vivía por su realidad? Dato curioso, ella es abogada, o sea, ella estudió para ser abogada en Guinea, West África, de repente se muda a Francia a hacer su maestría en esa misma rama, y estando allí ella dice, ok, quiero moverme a Estados Unidos para aprender el lenguaje, para aprender un poco de inglés. Se muda a Estados Unidos, llega a Ohio, allí pues, mientras está estudiando eso, ahí está trabajando también en una tienda de zapatos, y ahí entonces comienza a hablar con alguien, y le hablan de esta escuela de lucha libre, Ohio Pro Wrestling Academy, y ella dice, ok, vamos a intentarlo. Ella llega allí, y cuando iban a llegar, cuando era el momento, dicen como que, mira, estamos cerrando, ya como que no. Tú me vas a aceptar a mí como una estudiante, tú me vas a aceptar a mí como parte de tu clase, y yo voy a venir aquí a entrenar. Y digo como que, si insistes tanto, pues, ok, está bien. Y a partir de eso, viendo que era accesible, viendo que era posible de concretar, ahí entonces se convierte en un sueño. You have a pretty interesting background. I'm also a fellow lawyer, so it's really good to know. But you speak 4 languages. It's English, French, Japanese, and I believe it is Malinke or Pular. Which one do you speak?
I actually don't speak Japanese.
No.
It's English, French, Soso, and Fulani. Soso is my
Awesome.
dad's language. Fulani is my mom's language. But I'm learning how to speak Mandingo, the one that you talked about. That's my husband's language.
So how does knowing 4 different languages open you the doors in order to be here today?
I guess I'm a mess. My head is always confused, and that's what I do. I guess I do that the best way, and here I am. But yeah, I don't know. I just speak 4 languages.
I'll translate that. Ella menciona que habla 4 idiomas, el idioma de la cultura de su mamá, el idioma de la cultura de su papá, habla también inglés y habla francés. Dice como que a veces hay un revolú en mi mente, pero pues se puede manejar un poco y es como que pues sí, habla 4 idiomas. There's a pretty particular match we saw of you, before while doing the research to do this interview. There was an intergender match it was pretty unique. So what's your thoughts on intergender pro wrestling as a genre? Is it good for business? Is it bad for business? Do you see it, as a maximum sign of equality inside the pro wrestling industry?
I'm 100% for intergender matches, to be honest. It's a sport, we all train the same way. We all have to go through, hell and back. And putting women together against women, that's a great way of us showcasing our power. But another way, again, of showcasing what we can do, our ability, our, athleticism, it's to put us against men, because at the end of the day, it's wrestling. It's a sport. So as long as you respect me and I respect you, I'm all for it.
I'll translate that. Dice que está dispuesta a hacer todo tipo de lucha porque la industria de la lucha libre es un deporte. Todos fueron entrenados de la misma manera y siempre y cuando tú me respetes y yo te respete, no importa si sea hombre o mujer, pues definitivamente podemos estar en un cuadrilátero. Y es una manera bastante interesante de pensar. There's a pretty interesting company on the southern part of the United States, and I'm talking about Mission of Pro Wrestling. It is a company that Thunder Rosa was the person who launched it, and it is a company where every single worker is a woman, like from the production staff, from the creative writing, the wrestlers, everything. And you had the opportunity, to be there as a woman. How proud were you being part of this pretty unique concept that we're seeing today?
It's pretty amazing. And it just takes us to a whole nother level. Before going to Mission Pro Wrestling, I went to Japan for Marvelous, and it was all women. We put the ring together, we wrestled together, we do everything together. So Thunder Rosa bringing me in at Mission Pro just brought back those amazing memories where we all were working together. We put the ring together, we worked together. Backstage, no drama whatsoever. Everybody was supportive. Everybody was like talking to each other. Like we were just there to have fun, bring joys to the fan, and show them exactly, hey, we can do it, and we can do it way, way better. So I am just proud, you know, I just love it.
I'll translate that. Antes de ella llegar a Mission of Pro Wrestling, ella estuvo en Marvelous en Japón, un periodo de tiempo en donde todos eran mujeres, todas montaban el ring, todas hacían todo el trabajo y no había drama, nunca hubo un problema, simplemente las mujeres trabajando para echar adelante una empresa. Lo mismo ocurre en Mission of Pro Wrestling, y donde Rosa es quien la trae, y obviamente se siente orgullosa de que todas las personas que estén ahí sean mujeres haciendo un excelente trabajo. I want to talk to you about Marvelous. That was actually my next topic. That's a pretty interesting company. We've interviewed recently Masha Slamovich, who was working there as well. We want to know your vision on the creative side of Marvelous compared to the rest of the wrestling companies you've been before. Was it more rigid, more solid in terms of this is what we're going to do in the bookings and that'll be it, or it was flexible as many of the other wrestling companies?
Well, anytime we talk about any company in Japan, you already know you're going to be strict because training comes first. And based on your training abilities, that's when you get the bookings. And when it comes to bookings, they're not that rigid. Everybody works together and they let you bring your ideas in as long as you're open-minded and you know what you were talking about. Marvelous is more like, it's like a family that work together, but at the same time, when it's time to be in that ring, it's like, listen, I'm just gonna beat the hell out of you, and then we go home again and you give me a massage. So as a wrestler, as an entertainer, I want to be there. I want to stay there. I just want to eat, train, sleep, dream, everything wrestling. And I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't be the wrestler that I am today if I didn't have the opportunity to go to Marvelous and learn my craft and like be a little open-minded about wrestling. So it's just amazing. Like I'm blessed, man. Like I'm thankful.
I really know you are. I want to translate that to Spanish. Le pregunto sobre el proceso creativo en Marvel. Sabemos que es un poquito más rígido que en el resto de los lugares. Ella dice, como todo en Japón, el entrenamiento súper rígido, súper serio, pero una vez llegas a luchar, cuando estás ya cuadrando con tu compañera, es más flexible, pero le gustó la experiencia en Marvelous, en donde tú tienes la oportunidad de entrenar, tienes la oportunidad de luchar, tienes la oportunidad de comer, respirar, de vivir, de soñar lucha libre 24/7, y ella dice que esa experiencia le ayudó a hacer mucho de lo que es ella hoy día, y está simplemente agradecida, se siente bendecida de haber sido parte del proceso en Marvelous. Compared to the US crowd, the Japanese crowd they have the really unique ways. They are really critic about certain things, but they are silent when they are admiring a piece of artwork that you're offering. So what was the biggest challenge you faced in front of the Japanese audience?
They were so calm the first time that I was like, what am I doing wrong? What is happening here? Why are they not saying anything? But then when I went in the back, they were like, that's actually a good thing because they are paying attention. But at the same time, Nagayo-san was like, well, you can still be you. You can ask them to clap. They will follow along if you're pretty entertaining. And then I started understanding little by little. But my first 2-3 matches, I won't lie, I was just a little too worried and I was just lost, like the style, the crowd. But after that, I was like, now I know you guys. Game on.
I'll translate that. Japón tiene algo bien particular y es que el público es silente. No hablan, no gritan, no aplauden, no nada, nada, nada. Simplemente es como que silencio. Ellos están enfocados admirando una obra de arte. Y cuando el público en Japón es silente, ahí cambia la cosa. Significa que verdaderamente está apreciando la lucha. Y le dicen a Aminata que cuando ella llega allí es como que ella ve el público callado, es como que, pero que yo estoy haciendo mal, no entiendo. se preocupa porque viene de Estados Unidos luchando. Y allí le dicen, cuando el público está callado es porque está prestando atención, está enfocado en la lucha. Y es como que, ok, eso es algo bueno. Las primeras 2 o 3 luchas, obviamente, es sumamente extraño. Pero cuando llegue el momento de la verdad, dice como que, ok, ahora yo los conozco a ustedes. Ahora sí que voy a mostrarles lo que puedo hacer porque ya lo estudié, ya conozco a su público y ya sé lo que les gusta.
You're good.
Thank you. Do you understand Spanish? Because sometimes it looks like
French. So I picked little things here and there.
awesome. Moving to the US, once again, the audience, it's complicated depending on the region you're working. It depends on the place you're working. For the company you're working, you can find loyal fan base, you can find a toxic fan base that will critic everything from Dave Meltzer's point of view, when they do not know anything about wrestling as a general, and that happens in every single part of the world in America, including Puerto Rico. So what's your opinion and your thoughts on the American audience compared to your previous experience of the Japanese audience?
Everything in America is loud and messy sometimes. We're used to that, Now the audience, it depends again, like you said, where you're working, because you have a wrestling crowd and you have regular people that just watch wrestling. So you just have to know your crowd. Personally, the way I am growing, sometimes when I get in the ring where I know it's my first time there, my first thing is, hey, you're in Japan, make them want to watch you, make them want to be in the ring. Like, you got to bring them in. And if it's somewhere where I'm more familiar, like GCW, where I'm a champ, they know when Queen comes, it's more like, okay, I'm going to hit. I want you to hear everything that I'm doing, everything that I'm saying. So even if I don't do much, they still know Queen is here. And when it's somewhere new, it's like, I got to work a little harder. But at the end, I'm the Queen. I do what I want to do. I don't care about the crowd sometimes. I'm sorry.
I'll translate that. En Estados Unidos todo es más ruidoso, todo es más voz alta, los gritos, los aplausos, en comparación con Japón, obviamente. Menciona algo bien interesante, y es que dependiendo de dónde vayas, si has estado anteriormente, tienes reacciones distintas. Por ejemplo, ella es la campeona mundial femenina de GCW, y allí obviamente cuando ella llega, ya ellos saben que la reina Aminata, que es Queen Aminata, llegó allí, y ellos están acostumbrados a su estilo, pero cuando llega un lugar nuevo, cambia un poco la cosa, porque tiene que esforzarse un poco más para mostrarle a ellos quién ella es. Pero al final del día, todo el mundo reconoce a Queen Aminata, y ella, pues honestamente, muchas veces como que no le importa mucho lo que piense la audiencia, simplemente ella va a hacer un trabajo y hacer un trabajo de calidad. Life in the road is something that has always amazed me of the United States, in terms of the pro wrestling industry. That can be really rough, and it can be really fun, depending if you're alone, if you're traveling with friends. The roads, the weather, everything affects. How's been your experience traveling on the road in the US, to make it to the shows?
When I first started, it was fun. I'm not going to lie, because I was driving mostly, and I was able to take, my friends, my brother, other wrestlers, we carpool. That was pretty amazing. But then the more I advanced into my career, I started flying a lot, and I find myself always tired, because as soon as I land, I'm bloated, airport, heavy bags, going to the hotel or going to the show straight. It's hard. Like, traveling is the hardest part, but at the same time, it's part of what we do. So the good and the bad. And when you have a good match with a good crowd, it compensates all the, bad stuff that you went through. So I always see it that way,
Translate that. El viaje en Estados Unidos como tal en la carretera, por lo general tiende a ser bien agotador. En un inicio, Aminata decía como que obviamente es nuevo, le llama la atención, era divertido, ella era la que guiaba a lugares nuevos, podía buscar a su hermano, podía buscar sus amistades, hacían carpooling, se montaban unos con los otros. Era divertido, obviamente era el inicio de su carrera. Pero cuando comienza a transcurrir el tiempo, están los aviones. Todo el mundo en un punto se cansa de los aviones, y entonces el volar, el estar en un aeropuerto, equipaje pesado, se agota, la persona cuando llega allá como que odia el mundo, quiere descansar y como que es la parte como que un poquito más complicada de la industria. Before we go to our last question, I want to say something else in Spanish. Pueden seguir a Queen Aminata en Twitter como Amiselle, sería AMISYLLE, al igual que en Instagram, Amiselle, AMISYLLE. Jacobo ya lo puso acá abajo, pero como que ahora se lo estoy deletreando. De igual forma, pueden conseguirla en YouTube como Aminata Sille. La pueden conseguir así mismo, AMINATA SYLLE. Va a salir al final en una gráfica. Y de igual manera tiene su Patreon disponible para todos ustedes que quieran mantenerse al pendiente de lo que ella está haciendo con su carrera. Patreon.com/Queen Aminata, Patreon.com/Queen Aminata. Ahí pueden conseguir toda la información de fotografía, de las cosas que ella hace en el viaje, de todo, que es la vida interesante de luchadora a luchadora. First of all, before we go to our last question, it is an honor for us to have you here, and we thank you so much for your time and for sharing your life story with us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you. What's so special about GCW? I mean, we've seen you in multiple companies, but there we can see the queen be the queen on her biggest way possible. She's the champion. She's mean. She is a person that gets into the ring and lets everybody know that that she's inside the ring, that she's the queen. So what's so special for Queen Aminata about GCW?
In everybody's career, you have that one time where somebody out of nowhere takes a chance on you, and you even sit down and ask yourself, why? So that's GCW to me. And champion or not champion, I will forever be grateful for the opportunity, and it's like I have to work twice to 3 times harder now that I'm a champion, because I never wanted to be a lazy champion. That's not a goal. Has never been even in real life, like I work hard every single day. So as a champion, I don't only have to represent the women, I represent the whole company. Like I said, intergender matches, women matches, men matches, I don't care. It's a whole GCW. And I want people to just realize that when you see GCW, you see a Queen Aminata. And it doesn't matter, 10, 15, 20 years down the road from now, there's that one person in your career that just, you cannot forget about that person, And the booker, Robin, she's amazing. And I like when people work together. It's not only about, oh, come do a match. Come do a match with this person and we know it's going to be amazing. So them willing to work with me, like putting ideas together. I mean, if nothing great comes out of that, it's going to be, it's just going to be amazing. So that's why I'm just proud. And whatever, I always have my belt with me, I'm just happy. I'm just proud to present. And all the women at GCW are amazing. I don't know if you watch it. If you don't, then please do. We kick ass, So, yeah.
Translate that. Ella menciona que hay un punto en la carrera en donde alguien te brinda una oportunidad y no sabes por qué está pasando, por qué está dando la oportunidad y por qué la confianza, pero así ocurren las cosas en la industria. GCW es la primera empresa en darle la oportunidad grande a Aminata y creen en ella. Menciona a Booker, Robin, en donde ellos trabajan juntos constantemente, intercambian ideas. No es simplemente ven aquí y lucha con un oponente, no, es ven a nuestra empresa, vamos a hacer una lucha, vamos a hacer magia, vamos a darle a la gente algo que nunca se olviden. Y ahora que es la campeona de GCW, se tiene que forzar 2, 3 veces más fuerte todavía. Si tengo que luchar con hombres, si tengo que luchar luchas intergénero, luchas en pareja, luchas femeninas, 1 contra 1, rumbles, lo que sea, ella está dispuesta a hacerla porque es la campeona de la empresa y está dispuesta a representar. Si no se han dado la oportunidad de ver la empresa GCW, denle la oportunidad. Están disponibles en YouTube, están disponibles en Twitter, en Instagram, de igual forma pueden seguirlo y también tienen sus pay-per-view de cuando en vez en Fight TV, así que pueden prestarle atención por allí y echarles un ojo al producto de GCW y a Queen Aminata. It's been an honor for us to have you as our guest. Once again, thank you so much for your time. Always wishing you success in your career and in your personal life. And let's hope to see you soon in either WWE, AEW, or any, you know, mainstream company, because you have the talent. They just need to give you the opportunity as GCW gave you once.
Thank you. I'm still working hard, and we always hope for the best, and we pray, you know, whatever happens will happen, but we're still out here representing. And thank you guys so much for all you do. Thank you for inviting me. I hate podcasts, I hate interviews, but this is by far my favorite interview ever. I'm not gonna lie. Like, thank you so much. And you're good. You gotta teach me how to speak Spanish.
And then I'm gonna close it in Spanish as well. Así que este ha sido Michael Morales Torres y Queen Aminata para Lucha Libre Online, la marca número 1 de Pro Wrestling y Combat Sports en español. Sigan pendientes a Queen Aminata, a GCW y a Lucha Libre Online para más información.
Thank you, guys.